This dog's owner was about to return him to the shelter, but what he discovered made him cry instantly. James unfolded the letter with trembling hands, noticing the paper was old and slightly crumpled, as if it had been handled many times before. The handwriting was delicate but shaky, suggesting it had been written with great care. The letter read, "To whoever adopts my best friend, Teddy, thank you for taking him into your home. Teddy is not just a dog, he is a guardian of love and memories. My name is Margaret, and Teddy has been my companion through life's happiest and hardest moments. When I was diagnosed with an illness that would take me away too soon, I worried endlessly about what would happen to him. He loved to sit by the window, waiting for me to come home, no matter how late. That little white ball he carries everywhere? It was his favorite toy when he was just a pup. We spent hours playing with it, his joyful barks echoing through the house. It became a comfort for him, and even more for me as my strength faded. I've tucked this letter in his belongings with a hope, not just a wish. I hope his new family will give him the love he gave me every single day. Please be patient with him. He's grieving too, and it may take time for him to trust again. But when he does, he will fill your life with the love you didn't know you needed. Love him." Tears blurred James's vision as he read the heartfelt letter. He glanced at Teddy, who was now staring up at him with an expression that seemed to plead, "Don't give up on me." It dawned on James that Teddy's sorrowful eyes weren't just sadness, they carried the weight of loss. Just like his own, James knelt beside Teddy, gently stroking his fur for the first time without hesitation. "I'm so sorry, buddy," he whispered. "I didn't realize how much you've been through. But I promise I'm not giving up on you." For the first time, Teddy wagged his tail. It wasn't much, just a slow, tentative wag, but it was enough to give James hope. That night, they sat together on the couch, James holding the little white ball while Teddy rested his head on James's lap. The next day, James decided to make new memories with Teddy. They visited a nearby park, where Teddy cautiously began exploring his surroundings. Over the next few weeks, Teddy's trust in James blossomed. The once distant dog began meeting him at the door, tail wagging with genuine excitement. One evening, as James threw the white ball across the yard, Teddy bolted after it with an energy James had never seen before. When he brought it back, his joyful bark was a sound James would never forget. It was the beginning of a bond that would last a lifetime. And so, the two of them, both healing from their own sorrows, became each other's family. Margaret's hope had come true. As the days turned into weeks, James and Teddy grew inseparable. The quiet apartment that once felt like a hollow space now brimmed with life, laughter, and the rhythmic patter of Teddy's paws. The little white ball, once a relic of Teddy's past, became a symbol of their newfound connection. They spent hours in the park, playing fetch, with Teddy bounding through the grass, his tail a blur of excitement. James began to notice other changes in Teddy too. He started curling up at James's feet while he worked, resting his head on James's lap during movie nights, and even letting out soft, contented sighs as he drifted off to sleep. It was as if Teddy had finally realized that this new life was worth embracing. One day, while cleaning out the garage, James stumbled across an old photo album he hadn't touched since moving to the city. He flipped through it, memories of his childhood and his late parents flooding back. He realized that he and Teddy weren't so different. They both carried pain from their pasts, pain that made them wary of trusting others. James set the album aside and looked at Teddy, who was lying nearby with the white ball between his paws. "We've both lost people we loved, haven't we, buddy?" he said softly. Teddy perked up his ears, as if he understood. James decided it was time to honor not only Margaret, but also the memory of his own loved ones. He wrote a heartfelt letter and tucked it into a new scrapbook he started for Teddy, filled with photos of their adventures, walks in the park, lazy afternoons on the couch, and even a few goofy selfies of the two of them. He placed Margaret's letter carefully in the first page, ensuring her words would never be forgotten. One chilly autumn morning, James and Teddy visited a local animal shelter to volunteer. James wanted to give back, inspired by how much Teddy had changed his life. Teddy, to James's surprise, seemed at ease among the other dogs, wagging his tail and even nudging a nervous puppy as if to say, "It's okay, you'll find your person too." It was there that James met a woman named Sophie who was walking a sprightly golden retriever. They struck up a conversation, discovering they both shared a passion for animals and a love for the outdoors. Over time, their friendship blossomed into something more, and soon Sophie and her dog, Max, became an integral part of James and Teddy's lives. The once lonely apartment became a lively haven of friendship and love. Teddy and Max became inseparable, often teaming up to raid the treat jar or claim the best spot on the couch. On weekends, the four of them would hike through the countryside, Teddy's white ball always in tow. Years later, as James sat on the porch, watching the sunset with Sophie by his side and Teddy snoozing peacefully at his feet, he thought about how much his life had changed. The loneliness he once felt had been replaced by a sense of purpose and belonging. He leaned down, scratching Teddy's ears. "You saved me as much as I saved you, didn't you, buddy?" Teddy's tail thumped softly against the porch, as if to say, "We saved each other." Margaret's hope had not only come true, but had also multiplied, creating a ripple of love that extended far beyond what she could have imagined. And in that moment, surrounded by the warmth of his family, James knew one thing for certain: sometimes it's the broken pieces that come together to make something truly whole. As the years rolled by, James and Teddy's bond only deepened. Teddy, now with a graying muzzle and slower steps, still carried the same white ball, a little worn but ever present. It was a symbol not only of his journey, but of the love that had healed both his and James's hearts. One winter evening, as snow gently fell outside their home, James was organizing a small box of keepsakes when he stumbled upon Margaret's letter again. He hadn't read it in years, but the sight of it filled him with a profound sense of gratitude. Sitting down by the fire, with Teddy curled up beside him, he read the letter aloud, his voice catching with emotion. "Margaret, you changed my life in ways I could never have imagined," James whispered, looking down at Teddy. "You brought us together, and I'll never forget what you entrusted to me." Inspired by the letter, James decided it was time to pay tribute to Margaret's memory in a meaningful way. He reached out to the shelter where he had first adopted Teddy, proposing a program that would connect grieving pets with people in need of companionship. He named it Margaret's Hope and pledged to fund it with the savings he'd been quietly setting aside over the years. The program launched with overwhelming support. Stories of lonely hearts and broken spirits finding solace in each other began to pour in. A widower who found comfort in an energetic collie, a shy teenager whose confidence bloomed with the help of a mischievous terrier, and countless others whose lives were transformed, just as James's had been. Teddy, despite his age, became the unofficial ambassador of Margaret's Hope. His calm demeanor and soulful eyes made him a favorite at events, where he patiently sat as children hugged him and attendees marveled at his story. His tale of resilience and love inspired donations and volunteers, ensuring the program's success for years to come. One spring afternoon, as James prepared for the program's first anniversary celebration, he noticed Teddy standing at the window, gazing out at the blooming flowers. It was a familiar sight, but this time, Teddy's posture was peaceful, not longing. James knelt beside him and wrapped his arms gently around his old friend. "We've come a long way, haven't we, buddy?" he said. Teddy nuzzled James's hand, his tail wagging softly. That evening, surrounded by friends, family, and countless dogs whose lives had been changed by Margaret's Hope, James gave a speech. With tears in his eyes, he shared the story of a sorrowful dog and a grieving man who had found hope in each other. "Teddy taught me that love can heal even the deepest wounds," he said, his voice steady despite the emotion welling inside him. "And Margaret taught me that hope is something we carry forward, even when we're gone." Together, they gave me the greatest gift of all of family. As the crowd erupted in applause, Teddy, sitting proudly at James's side, let out a joyful bark as if to say, "We did it." Years later, when Teddy's time finally came, he passed peacefully in James's arms, the white ball nestled beside him. Though the loss was immeasurable, James felt a deep sense of gratitude for the years they had shared. He buried Teddy beneath the old oak tree in their yard, placing Margaret's letter and the white ball alongside him. A small plaque marked the spot, reading, "Here lies Teddy, beloved friend, faithful companion, and the heart of Margaret's hope. You will always be loved." And while Teddy was gone, his legacy lived on in the countless lives he had touched. Every wagging tail, every joyful bark, and every healing heart was a testament to the love and hope that had started with one sorrowful dog and one grieving man. James often sat by the oak tree, reflecting on the journey they had shared. In those quiet moments, he knew one thing for certain: love, in all its forms, never truly ends, it carries on, lighting the way for others, just as Teddy and Margaret had done for him.